Irashamase. Welcome to the Magical Bro Transformation Podcast. I don't know.
New year, new intro.
New year, new intro. Gotta welcome these beautiful, handsome, cute fans of ours. You know, gotta keep it positive. Make everybody like enjoy listening.
In these trying times, we all have to stick together, as all of the commercials that I keep hearing say we do.
Yeah, I mean, and when have commercials steered you wrong, Mike?
A few times. I mean,
nonsense.
When they're not, quite what they say they are. Like,
yeah, I mean, come on. And what's
you see on KFC, and your one of your favorite wrestlers is like, "Hey, come get this Kentucky Louisiana Gold." Georgia Gold. There you go. And you're like, hey, he says they're pretty good, and you know what? They look pretty good from this advertisement. And so you go over there. You pay how much? $40, $50?
Will you pay fucking $40 for your 10
for 10 strips and like 2 small ass sides?
Yeah.
No drinks, mind you.
No drinks. You go back to watching your wrestling, and you're just doubly disappointed
because you're eating them, and you're like, this isn't bad, but it's not very good either.
No. But what can you do?
What can you do?
I'll tell you what we can do. We can come back from our month-long hiatus with this episode talking about Lucy, the daughter of the devil, that I decided to do on a whim. We can
indeed do that.
Yeah. And I guess we'll figure out how it'll go. Because I think I told you guys like 2 days ago, hey, I'm going to do this. And you guys were like, okay. And now we're here.
And here we are.
Yeah. And there's no real reason that we took a break. I think it was just me editing the music podcast that Mike and I were doing with Mark. And then having the 3rd episode in a row where Mark sends me some audio and I have to be like, hey, Mark, your audio sounds like shit. Send me better, take off your effects and shit again. And then you finally did it after like a day or 2 or something like that, while I was in the middle of editing my side of the audio, so I could just like plug his in and just have it there. And it just never sounded good, so I just got discouraged, and I was like, you know what, fuck this. And and now we're here
with the new policies and stuff. Is that going to affect the podcast?
Probably.
Actually, yeah, I actually wondered about that as well, because I remember you bringing it up, but I don't know if there's any sort of.
Well, the bill passed. I think the House of Representatives, or the Senate, I forget which house, and then it was stopped by another house. And I just stopped keeping up with it because I was like, well, I'll just wait until they figure their shit out so I can see what happens with that podcast. But anyway. We're doing this one now, and maybe it'll be streaming next episode that we do. We'll see. I'll figure it out.
Oh boys, I mean, we got to use like a soundboard to evade DMC takedowns.
Nah, I mean, not for this one. We could.
I feel like anything. Like I remember I told you that one of the streamers that I watch, she's not even a streamer, she just streams every once in a while for chat. Like she literally did a 15-second karaoke. Like she literally just sang a cappella.
Yeah.
And she got it pulled down.
Yeah.
And the record company wanted to steal everything that she got out of that.
Yes, all the pennies.
So many pennies that they got to take from you.
I mean, that's half the reason why I actually want to stream to YouTube instead of Twitch. That being the main reason, because it's a lot less fucking money hungry over there immediately. And the second being, it'll save me time from doing that one thing that I keep saying that I want to do and just put episodes up there. So I could just, save the archive, keep that there, and if you want to listen to a better edited version, then we can have you can just look for the actual audio version, and the shitty video will be over there. But yeah, we're here now. We're going to talk about Lucy.
Lucy, the daughter of the devil.
The daughter of the devil. The 2005 I mean, it came out in 2005, technically, like the pilot, and then I guess it got greenlit, and it came out like the actual rest of the series came out in 2007, which I was like, I didn't like this show when it first came out, and if you've never heard of this show before, I don't blame you. It was like, even back in the day when it was actually airing, it was fairly, and you know, it had its regular time slot and stuff, but nobody was really talking about it. And
yeah, I never really saw anybody really mention it.
Yeah, like I didn't become a fan of it until it was way far canceled, and I remember specifically avoiding the show when it would actually come on. The few times that I actually did see it, because like when it was coming on, it was around the time that Super Joe was a thing, Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, was a thing. Mike's favorite, Xavier, Renegade Angel, was a thing. I
love that show.
God,
I don't know if you actually.
I love that show so much.
I don't know if you're saying this ironically or not.
No, I love the shit out of that show. It's funny as hell. I actually I don't know. It's just one of those where it was another one where at first I hated it because it looked so appalling. But the more I watched it, the more I grew to really love it. Like, it's such an absurdist show, and I don't know. I grew to like it.
and you know, your other,
which is weird because it's like, let's compare it to Tim and Eric, and I honestly don't. You
don't like Tim and Eric, and
I don't like Tim and Eric. Awesome show,
and it's just such a similar humor.
It's a similar humor thing. I just can't palate it. I don't know if it's like the weird like Uncanny Valley because of the fact that it's like actual live actors. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but I for the life of me, I could never get into Tim and Eric. I can appreciate like the stylings and everything like that. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I don't think I ever actually went back to watch Xavier Renegade Angel. I just remember being forced to watch some episodes and thinking some were good. But
you know what's funny though?
Yeah,
I do like Tom Goes to the Mayor, if I believe that's the name of the show.
That's basically Tim and Eric.
It's literally the same people. I like other works in which they have been a part of it, but for some reason I just could not get it. Tim and Eric. I don't know what it is about me.
I remember a girl in high school really liked it, and she put a of one of the episodes. And,
Tim and Eric?
Yeah. And I commented on it, and then she's like, "You don't like it?" And I was like, "No," and then she just sighs.
What?
I actually knew quite a few girls in high school as well that were really into Tim and Eric. I don't know what it is, but yeah, like I knew a lot of girls who just really liked Tim and Eric for some reason.
She was one of those very I guess you can say artsy.
Alternative.
They appreciated the artistic aspect of Tim and Eric.
Indie. That's
indie aspect.
Very indie.
I'll describe her that way.
She was a hipster.
She was a hipster.
She was quite literally a hipster.
I see. I get what you're putting down, Juan.
Yeah, we're reading between the lines.
Yeah, but like the only person that I actually know that liked Tim and Eric, great job, was Jordan from high school, I think. And maybe that was it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. Because like nobody else that I talked to watched those kinds of shows, I guess.
I was aware of it. It's just, you know.
Yeah, like around this time was when all my friends started making their grandiose things that I wish I would have done, which is get their GEDs and just go straight to college. Because
they just left and then went to go get the GED.
Yeah, and then they just went to college because, you know, our high school is a big waste of time. Or was a big waste of time.
High school is a big... I mean, I don't even want to...
Ours specifically,
was nothing changed. You didn't learn anything. We got away with so much dumb shit. No. I basically didn't pay attention for the last 2 years of school at all. And I still managed to pass without trying it. I was asleep most of the time, and I still passed.
I got to a point where I was like, well, let me try these advanced classes for English, because why not? And then I was trying them, and I was like, like on my last year is when I decided, I guess I want to try and get into college. Might as well go into the normal stupid people, classes and not try at all, get straight A's and make my GPA look good. So I did. And I still think to myself, man, I should have just dropped out, got my GED, and went to college like they did.
Probably. I mean, it seems like a much bigger or a much less waste of time.
Yeah.
What was that one?
I was the fifth one in my class, but that means that I'm also mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, you were of a tiny graduation class, weren't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
how big was the school, full size?
The school was 300.
No, I mean like your. Oh, okay.
The class itself was 17.
Jesus Christ.
Nice. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Still that number.
you're mediocre at number 5 out of 17.
Yeah, you weren't top 3, so you just didn't matter in the eyes of academia.
Pretty much.
It's okay, Juan. I was I don't even know what fucking number I was, but I do know that my graduating class my year was 2,000 people. So
Yeah.
And we had this big fucking thing where I came to realize midway through the ceremony that the reason why it was so big was not only because they were attempting to bolster their numbers in order to get a big tax break.
No
and a higher
child
budget.
left behind.
Not only that, but it was also because they decided to try to take a national spotlight by being the first school to live stream a parent who was currently in Iraq. Watching their kid walk down the aisle and everything. So they made a big fucking spectacle about it. They ended up taking over some network channel in order to stream it and everything like that. And they made a huge fucking deal, and I had to sit through that entire thing. It was
prior
awful.
to Twitch.
This was prior to Twitch, so imagine the money poured into this thing.
What was before that? It was
Jason TV.
It was Justin TV.
Justin TV.
Justin TV and then live stream, and then there was another one at the same time.
I don't remember all of them.
And I feel like Twitch was an evolution of one of them.
Twitch was Justin TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my current Twitch account is literally an evolved Justin TV account that got grandfathered in, and then they forced me to adhere to their policies.
Yeah. After a while.
After a while, yeah. For years, they stated that that I could opt in or whatever, but then they just ignored that later, and they're like, nah, never mind, we're just gonna force you into it. I just remember getting an email one day, and it gave me all of my live streaming stats, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, you're well on your way to becoming signed on with us. And I was like, what? And then and it was just like, oh, here's your statistics and how well you did on advertisement. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And,
all those ads you play in front of your videos, Mike.
Funny enough, when I stream for people, they will sometimes get random ads and shit, and I'm like, I'm not seeing any of that money.
Yeah, I mean, you have to opt in to get that money, but also, things you stream, maybe don't opt in.
No.
Yeah.
No. A lot of cyberpunk.
They basically became YouTube, wherein even if you're not,
if you're not signed on with them to make money, they're gonna monetize your videos.
Yeah, no matter what. Even if it's just your school project, YouTube's still gonna get their nickel from your teacher watching that video.
And it's it's not much money, but it's still the fact that they're monetizing this shit, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I tried looking some stuff up for Lucy because one, I'm genuinely interested on who made it, why they made it, all that stuff. And in 2005 when the show was created, not a lot of stuff kind of came out around that time. It was all mostly through magazine. The one thing I did find was an Animation Magazine TV interview thing where I looked up the article, and at the end of the article it says you could read more in our physical magazine.
Of course.
Then that doesn't exist.
That doesn't exist anymore. No.
That year seems to be like the pit hole, the black hole.
There's a term for that. It's not the Dark Ages, but it's like a point in history in which it's just is it called a memory hole? Where there's just there's a point in time in which all things were lost, basically. And there does seem to be like an age of like animation in which everything just fucking was gone because there was a shift between digital and physical media. Yeah. So much shit was lost.
And like the way that I usually just interpret it is just like a transitional period in the like mid 2000s. Right. Because from like, 2000, I don't want to say like 1 or 2. I think it maybe exactly around 2005 to 2010 is when everybody was like trying to figure out like, so these physical things, we're going to keep making them or what? And the answer in the end was no. Everything's going to vanish
into... Little physical media has become ruled out.
Yeah.
Which sucks because electronic media or digital media isn't permanent.
It's not finite. Or it's not infinite. It's finite. It will decay. There's such a thing as digital decay.
Yeah, you're going to have to keep replacing those hard drives infinitely. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, physical media is also kind of has its time. It's just lasts a little bit longer than a hard drive. For the most part, I'm pretty sure there's some tapes back in the day that didn't last too long.
Nah.
Yeah, and they're fires and stuff. And this whole I don't know if you guys have heard about I forgot exactly what music company it was that's been charging people to like keep records of all their old masters and stuff that they said was in their warehouse that ended up being burnt down in one of the fires years ago. But they didn't tell anybody, and it kind of came out to light this year when a bunch of people were trying to look for their original recordings of stuff, and they just kept giving them the runaround.
So this whole time they've been charging them to keep their records safe without actually having them anymore because they all burned in a fire. Is that what the situation is? To
keep the masters, like the original recordings of
they were tasked with holding on to the master copies. Yeah, but the master copies have long since been destroyed.
They have been lost in a fire for years.
Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah, forget. And I'm pretty sure this is like it's more than just one company that this has happened to because of all the fires that happened in California.
I feel like that's a more common thing than you would assume because I've always heard stories of that like in other cases too, but it's also because I was playing a game recently and there was a boss character whose voice was extremely bit crushed. And it was like a second iteration of the boss character. Like there was the first time you fight it, and then the second one, the voice was all fucked up. And like the boss had come out in a second installment for it. It's an online game. So the boss had come out for it like years later or everything, and it sounded extremely bit crushed, like Nintendo 64 tier voice and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Because the game came out in like 2016 or something like that. And so apparently they lost the master copy to the thing, and so they had to use like one of the mobile versions of the voice, and or like the handheld version of the game or something. And so they had to use that version of it, which is extremely compressed. So like it sounded like shit, and I was just like, damn. So I mean, so to hear that happened like with a big company and stuff like that, I would just go and assume that that this happens a lot more often than people let on it does.
Yeah, especially in the 90s with video games and stuff.
Yeah, there have been stories
all those are gone.
Yeah, like people just finding like master copies of a game and like ceilings and shit.
Computers sometimes too, like servers and everything just loaded with like old shit that they thought no longer existed, and then they're like, oh, what the fuck is that doing there?
Or just like some company moved and they were like, yeah, this isn't important, we could just leave this here, it doesn't matter.
Like they didn't really think about it or anything.
And that makes me really curious about how another reason that I brought up Lucy as a thing that I wanted to do is because our boy Miguel told us that it was on HBO Max now, and due to current times, I have no money in my account. So, I mean, I have money, but I don't have money to spend on frivolous things like a streaming service that charges me $15 a month for just to watch one episode of Lucy the Daughter and the Devil and be like, I see. They didn't upscale it and they didn't do anything. I was just curious about if they saved the music or not. And I can't tell you. So, maybe next week I'll record a thing and I'll be like, so it turns out they did stuff. Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, I knew everything all along. We'll be like, whoa, Nuny, you're so smart about all these things. I'm glad that you're like our research guy.
Yeah. The good old research Nuny is what they call me.
Research Nuny, yeah.
Yeah, because, I don't know if they saved the Maya files for this show or like what they had. Maybe they didn't even bother having anything. They just recreated it. Yeah, or who knows what they did, because the show was made in 4:3, but it had black bars on the top and the bottom that made it look like it was 16:9. And who knows, maybe it looks good upscaled, and maybe they actually have the original files, and the models aren't like super low polygonal models. Yeah. Which, watching the things that I watched, they look pretty smooth. I'm pretty sure you could upscale them to a point where they look good in a bigger monitor.
It doesn't look bad per se, but I would argue that that's only because the models themselves are fairly
super simple.
Yeah, you can't really high def that.
You can't turn that into a high poly sort of thing without it looking like uncanny as shit. So
yeah, but I can't tell you because I don't have HBO Max. So if you do, write in, let us know. How can you write in? You can figure it out. Yeah. And tell me if they save the music, because a lot of the intros and like the stupid little songs that they sing in the middle of it, like what's that song? Something in the Air of the Night.
The one by I'm gonna fuck this up. The Eagles.
No, I looked it up the other day. I forget. Something in the Shadows of the Night, I think.
Okay, we're thinking of two different songs.
Yeah, literally the song "Shadows of the Night" by Pat Benatar.
Okay.
Yeah, that Jesus and Satan sing in their restaurant. I'm curious if that's still there, because it's a shitty rendition of a song. But nowadays, in 2005, who knows what streaming options there were in the contracts that they signed to use the music.
Yeah, and if they're still valid.
Yeah,
I would assume so. Like, I wouldn't assume that the license to use it would expire just because they're rerunning it. But if they did, as you say, reproduce it, then that would be a different situation entirely.
Well, here's the thing about music is that depending on the company that you work with, if you don't purchase the license to run the music in perpetuity, which a lot of like companies don't do, because why would you want to license something forever if you're only going to use it like once on the DVD and once on the show that might get reruns every now and then. So a lot of people just kind of have, I mean, this is also different because they're all covers, and I'm pretty sure that's a lot cheaper, and maybe for some of these things you don't actually need to get.
It's still such a jarring statement to make, though, that it's like, oh, well, a cover is cheaper.
A cover is cheaper.
Free. No, but it's like a cover should be free. I mean, in my opinion, I know that that's not how it works, but it's just the fact that like we live in this world right now where it's like you can't even cover a fucking song.
Papa Disney says that you have 70 years to use your licensed product, Mike.
Be constantly extending the copyright.
And what Papa Disney says, Papa Disney does.
You're gonna have Disney fucking everything by the end.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's just such a frustrating thing. It's like moving on.
It's okay, Mike. Once we become politicians and they line our money with our pockets with their money, we can complain all we want and not do anything about it.
Because they've stuffed their pockets full of money, right?
Hey, you know what? If they want to give me money to say the opposite on this podcast, I'll take it.
And we'll do it. Yeah, I will give an opposite. If with the right price, I will say the opposite of what I'm currently saying.
Yeah, I mean, money talks.
Money does indeed talk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have some integrity, but then money happens, and it's like, well,
Yeah, there's some things that you can't buy my pride or my opinions for, but most of them they're flimsy ideals that can easily be swayed. At least in a on a recorded sense, I could say something differently to my friends confidently, but with enough money, I'll come over here
and say the opposite.
Yeah, I can be a disgusting
with just
hypocrite.
as much conviction, mind you.
Yeah.
Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Old memories forgotten, deep webs woven to cotton, causing distraught and conceived forgotten, volatile rotten.
Like it's a stare in the victim's eyes. Think you remember, but the brain denies. Feeling's still there and it feels what's hollow. The dread sit there and wallow. Anxiousness is overwhelming. Solitude now unrelenting. Longing for a quick escape of this memory I can't reshape. All I want to break this block. Though barricaded by shock, held back from joy. I'd like to destroy emotions, driving this profane madness, relinquishing all its grandness.
Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this, to blindly reminisce of the emptiness. Evolution has led me to this.
So Lucy the Daughter of the Devil. If you haven't,
Lucy the Daughter of the Devil.
If you haven't ever watched the show, basically, so the Antichrist exists, and she's a 21-year-old girl,
Yes.
and Satan and his left hand lady, what's her name, Becky, I think, are trying to Satan and Becky are trying to come up with some plans to finally make Lucy come, bring down the fall of man and all that stuff. And essentially it's just a backdrop. It's like an excuse to make these episodes. Because there's like a flimsy story, and
Very flimsy story.
And whenever it's adhered to, it's fun, and I like it. But most of the time, a lot of these are just you don't have to watch them in order.
Episodic for the most part.
Yeah, very episodic for the most part.
It's just one of those where the plot just jumps in because they think that it'll make for a decent episode, and that's really it. Otherwise, it just doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus is DJ Jesus. How fast and loose can you get with this?
Yeah, fast and loose enough to have an episode of Burning Man in there.
Yeah.
Where it mirrors that one story of Jesus in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights maybe.
Yeah, or an entire episode dedicated to making dildos.
Yes.
Most memorable episode in my opinion too.
Yeah. There's some other episodes that aren't as memorable. I want to say the last episode kind of
I
sucks.
honestly completely forgot what the hell happened in the last episode until I refreshed myself.
Yeah, I was watching the last episode before we started, and I was like, oh yeah, this episode. I don't like this episode. I like all the other episodes.
Called it, and it was only because of the battle thing that they had.
Yeah, you see, you got a beatbox to keep the monsters from attacking.
Just thinking to myself, why? I was like, I get that it's like funny in quotation, but I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I rewatched almost every episode except for maybe one before recording this, and gotta say, everything else top notch. Last episode sucks balls, but yeah, I want to say when I was 20 is when I finally got back into, or not got back into, but just got into watching Lucy the Daughter of the Devil. I'd already moved back from Kansas from going to college over there. And at this point, at least a few of my friends were still in our hometown, and they just stay the night at my house, or I'd stay the night at their house, and it was just like a thing that we did for a while.
And it was watching competitions.
No, just like staying over at each other's houses.
Oh, that okay, yeah. I feel like everyone was doing that, at some point,
Yeah, I mean, around this time, I was walking everywhere. I could have driven everywhere, but I was like, no, I have nothing to do. I'll just walk.
Oh, dude, we're living in this small town, and we're these small town boys with these big dreams. And,
these 1 hour walks, because turns out our small towns bigger than other people's small towns. Yeah.
Living in the town, in our hometown, everyone kept saying, "Oh, it's a tiny city," but then you go to an actual tiny city, and you're like, "Oh, okay." You literally can walk around everywhere.
Yeah, I could see all the stores.
Yeah,
I don't have to walk an hour to get to Walmart.
Our town was actually a small city, which is something. It's a very distinct thing.
And so I think like at one point Christian told me, "Hey, why don't you put on whatever? Let's watch Lucy the Daughter of the Devil on my laptop or something." And I was like, that show? Why? And then he was like, "No, I haven't seen it in a long time, blah blah," and he got me to watch it. And I finally started watching it, and I was like, "Whoa, when was this show on? Why wasn't I watching it? Is there gonna be a season 2?
And then laughed and said, "No, Nuny."
Oh, Nuny.
Because of people like you with your misconceptions.
Yeah, you're busy watching the Drinky Crow show, Nuny.
Oh God, I fucking hated Drinky Crow.
That thing got more than one season.
That thing was terrible. Did you see any of that one?
No, I didn't.
You didn't watch the Drinky Crow show, Drinky Crow?
Like Drinky Crow and fucking 12-ounce mouse right there. That was the fucking that was the Adult Swim's dip in quality right there. They had already been going down to the shitter, but Drinky Crow fucking.
That's the year when my mom stopped or didn't no longer want to watch cable TV, so she stopped. She cut it, and then she blamed it on me because she wanted me to give her money. So my dad got mad because he was watching TV, when he comes back from the ranch.
Yeah.
Like, well, I just need to watch novelas, and that's in Mexico. So she cut it, and since then we haven't had any cable TV.
Yes, even though Juan doesn't even live with his mother anymore, but he refuses to get cable TV because all he needs is his novelas.
I stopped watching cable like right after high school. I think it was just kind of like why do I have to sit here and wait for shit when I can just go online?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have internet, so that's my mom, and to an extent my dad, believe that you don't need internet, and my mom to an extent says, well, my novelas are in Mexico, so I don't need cable.
It's all novelas.
Yeah, however, my dad watches AMC and watches all these westerns. So he was really pissed off because that's what he watched when he came back home.
And now, does he watch it on YouTube?
No, like he does use the he does use the internet on his phone, but it's like random Facebook like posts. So he just watches those videos. Like he doesn't know how to get on YouTube and all that stuff.
Oh no, you haven't showed him the way, so he can be a modern 50 to 60-year-old man.
Would you say Lucy is I don't want to say modern. They use did they use would you say that they used enough technology to make it a timepiece?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this because
it's like is there anything that dates it?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, the lack of scenery is what.
Well, besides the overall animation.
Nah, I mean, I feel like this show could maybe come out. The only thing that that might date it is like there was an episode where there was like a sound maker, to help you go to sleep that they used to sell back in the day.
Yeah.
That those boxes with the speaker that basically had a CD or a tape inside where you'd play your soothing sounds to fall asleep to.
Oh, I know those things.
Yeah, which don't exist now because you can just do it on your phone.
Well, obviously, yeah. You just crank on the playlist on Spotify, and there you go.
Yeah.
Listen to all the rainy sounds you want.
I think that may be the only thing that kind of dates it. Everything else is kind of, I guess you could look over it and just be like, yeah, that seems like a thing. Yeah, like I keep trying to think of something, but they don't even. No, I guess the cell phones they use are kind of old. There was a flip phone at one point.
Yeah, I mean, flip phones are still a thing even in Japan, though.
Yeah, there are flip phones here now.
There are still flip phones here now that I've seen people. I usually assume they're drug dealers when they're using like a Razor phone, though. I still see around.
Razor has made a comeback, Mike.
They have, but I mean the old ass Razor, like the ones that everyone used to have.
Yeah, though they made a comeback, Mike.
Did they? Yeah. I mean, did they upgrade the model at all? Is it like inspired by it?
I don't know. I don't know about it at all, but it's back.
Such a strange. I mean, I know it was a super popular style.
Yeah.
A lot of people were just like super into the whole thing.
It's back, baby. Look at how thin it is.
So thin. So razor thin, one might say.
Yeah.
But to go back onto Lucy, yeah, like I had a similar experience in that when I first was introduced to it, I didn't like it. I wasn't really a fan of the humor whatsoever. Like when I first watched it, it just seemed like just another one of those really weird, out there, like sort of humor sort of things. But when it came down to it, and you got past the whole weird, the backdrop, like the fact that she's like the Antichrist and her dad's the devil and everything, it was just like I don't know, I don't want to call it slice of life, but I guess that's the only sitcom. There's a sitcom, I guess, and then it with just a dumb backdrop about her dad being the devil, which I found kind of funny, I guess. And I don't know. Getting older, I found it funnier.
Yeah.
Could you say womanhood?
What do you mean?
No.
No.
I mean, Lucy's in there.
But she really wanted those dildos.
She did want those dildos.
She was very interested in those dildos.
I mean, she needed to sell them for charity for DJ Jesus for him holding his arms down for 3 days and 3 nights.
For 3 days and 3 nights, yes.
Yeah, it's very important to get those dildos. Was the dildo
going to be shaped like him or something?
Yes, it was a dildo shaped as Jesus with his arms out.
Yeah, that was gonna go out for donation or whatever, or given to charity. And I'm like, why are you with charitable dildos? All right, charitable dildos.
No, Mike. You see, it's to raise money.
It's to raise money.
You bid on the dildo. And yeah, that's an episode.
It was indeed an episode. It's the most memorable one to me. Before I rewatched it, it was the one that I vaguely remembered off the top of my head, and I was like, "Oh, it's the one with where they talk about dildos at some point." And yeah,
and also Lucy was the first time that I got that I realized H. John Benjamin was a thing. Like I recognized his voice from other things, and I was like, who is this guy? And I looked him up, and I was like, oh, so that's who it is. Because he was also Coach McGurk and a bunch of other characters and a bunch of other shows
all over the place.
But I never really paid attention to him until Lucy the Daughter of the Devil.
Yeah, and, he gets around.
Yeah, and it makes me want to go back and watch his stupid show that he had on Comedy Central.
What was it called?
John Benjamin Has a Band.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had a TV show.
He had a TV show. And how good it was, I can't tell you. I've followed his other things and into other stuff like H. John Benjamin Jazz Daredevil, where he put out a record with a bunch of professional jazz musicians. You see, he doesn't know how to play an instrument, you see. So he gets in front of a piano and just starts fucking slamming the keys in there, baby. And that's the record.
I see.
I was on the verge of buying it. And I think he was on Stephen Colbert's show at one point to promote it. and performed something off of it. And boy, that's a thing. He's a guy. I like him. Very much alt humor.
He's voiced so many characters like within that, genre of humor.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always love him mostly for Coach McGurk because it's like my favorite character in home movies.
Yeah, and I feel like about 5 years ago, he was maybe at his peak doing both Archer and Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, that was that had to have been the highlight for him.
Yeah, he's at his most popular because before then, and like
people were constantly trying to get. I believe it did happen at some point where they had the two characters had a run in or something.
There was an episode of Archer where Archer basically was Bob from Bob's Burgers and with Linda and his and Tina. Mm-hmm. I think he was like, what's that word? He wasn't sedated, but he was like he was drugged and out of it, and he was just living the life of Bob. And then eventually killed them because he came back too, and he was like, "Aha, I was being tricked."
Yeah.
I know that episode was a thing. Don't remember anything else though.
I think that was mainly it because I remember people like being like, "Oh my God, look, they did the reference to everything," and then everyone remembered Archer was a thing, and they're like, "Oh, I've always loved Archer." I'm like, "You lying sack of shit."
But I did always like Archer.
I did always like Archer. I just remember other people not fucking liking Archer. You know what else I remember people not liking from a similar fucking thing, Nuny?
What?
Frisky Dingo, and fuck everyone who did more Dingo.
No, I swear, Mike, I liked Frisky Dingo back then, for sure.
Dingo was a good fucking show. It was a good fucking show, and nobody fucking watched it, and it just never took off, and so it ended up, they moved on to Archer, which is fine. It's a good show, but I'll never let go of that.
You see,
I lost Frisky Dingo.
You see, Mike, the only thing I remember about Frisky Dingo that I genuinely fucking love was the incident with the penguin. And I can't tell you exactly what it is. I just remember an incident with the penguin and me laughing my fucking ass off and loving that.
My favorite episode was the fucking the Death Rabbit one where they were fighting, where they were literally like betting on like fights with rabbits, and like they kept hyping it up to act like it was some brutal shit, and then it finally gets to the scene where you see them fighting and it's just rabbits with like knives and shit strapped to them, and they're just like slowly hopping to each other. But it was just like the lead up to it was fucking amazing because it's just they spent an entire fucking like I think it was 2 episodes just getting to that point and everything leading up to it, and it was just such a nice payoff. And then like I don't know, I feel like Frisky Dingo just had a lot of heart put into it and everything, and it just didn't get the love that it needed, and then it just got canceled and it became Archer.
Yeah, I remember the first episode of Archer that I watched. I was like, is this Frisky Dingo? Is this a continuation of Frisky Dingo?
They brought in most of the fucking voice actors to the thing.
Yeah, because I didn't actually watch Frisky Dingo when it was coming out. It was another thing where it was I think it was literally the same week that I watched Lucy like all over again. Is when I watched like a few episodes of Frisky Dingo, and I was like, oh man, I should have watched this when it was coming out. It was pretty funny. But you know, who knows? Maybe it'll get a revival on HBO Max.
I doubt it. Archer's too popular.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like they'd rather keep doing that than appeal to like a group of man children that remember the first iteration of it.
How dare you?
How dare I? I dare I like. But to go back to Lucy, I don't know what it is with it. It's a common thing where people have situations like ours where it's like you just don't like it the first run, but then you grow into it. And I feel like that's evident of like the alt humor genre in general. It's an acquired taste is the right way to put it, I suppose. Yeah,
it's like a Topo Chico. You know, people drink it in front of you when you're a child, and you're like, ew, this tastes like poopy, like fizzy poopy.
Yeah, it doesn't taste right, and then later on you're just drinking it like normal.
Yeah, and you're like, man, I didn't think I'd be this guy, getting Topo Chicos, and now the children look at me and I'm the freak.
You're like, boy, do I love water that burns.
I sure do.
Filtered water.
What?
That was made with filtered water.
Ah, filtered water.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
it's-
used to live in a ranch and we didn't.
Oh,
we
yeah, that's
would
right.
get water out of a trough.
Yeah.
So I would get straight from the faucet or the manguera.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they gave me like plastic water bottle, I thought it was disgusting.
Oh, poor Juan. Your water had too much flavor. When they gave you the thing that tasted like nothing, you were like, "Oh, what's this
What the
garbage?"
fuck is this?
And yeah, I found out just now that Frisky Dingo is on HBO Max.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll have to rewatch it sometime.
Along with Brave of the Six Flowers, Roku
Oh
Nuny
shit! The other underrated show. Funny, is that where just all of them are going? They
Yeah,
just-
just straight to HBO Max, and right here next to Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
It's not like Roku no Yusha will ever get a continuation anyway, though. Like nobody, the anime for this show did so bad in ratings that the author himself stopped writing the light novels. So, you know,
No, it's okay.
I
mean,
really liked it.
It's weird how I see them, like I see the light novels pop up in Japanese bookstores that I go visit.
Yeah.
Because like I see them and I'm like, man, they're right there. I could just finish it off, I guess. But who reads? Why would you do that?
I mean, I've read light novels. I'm caught up, except for like the last couple of volumes on No Game No Life, at least. And
Yeah.
I was reading the light novels for Shield Hero, but I stopped really enjoying it for personal reasons. It wasn't so much like the writing quality.
Crunchyroll ruined it for you, you say. They shoved it down your throat.
Fucked up that show quite a bit. I do not like their iteration of it, but I also am not really big on the light novel one. Funny enough, a very odd opinion. I genuinely believe the manga handled Shield Hero better than even the light novel did.
Damn.
When translating from the web novel. Web novel was exceedingly edgy, but I feel like it had its merits, and I feel like the light novel itself is too subdued, and the manga just strikes it just right. Like it keeps the main character being just enough of an asshole that it's watchable. But yeah, that's a story for another day, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, another day when we watch the anime and I ask you, Mike, why am I watching this?
Yes, you'll be like, Mike, why did we do this? Does it get any better? And I'll say, not with this anime director, because he's what we refer to as a he just really loves his waifu, and he got to insert her into everything,
I see.
even if she doesn't belong there in the fucking story. Fuck plot, Nuny.
Yeah, I mean, why would you need plot?
Why would you need plot when you have your waifu?
Yeah,
And you can literally insert her into everything.
yeah, you can be like C-Lab 2021 or the Brack Show.
I love C-Lab. Brack was a hit and miss thing for me, though. Brack Show was definitely a hit and miss for me.
I'm afraid to go back and watch the Brack Show. I would love to go back and watch C-Lab.
I feel like the Brack Show won't hold up for me.
Yeah, that one's the most surrealist for me because I feel like
Extremely surrealist. It honestly, there was some moments in which I felt like I was going to have a panic attack.
not for me. Like I feel like it was surreal because I was younger. I was like a little kid.
Yeah, and then you see this.
It was like midnight, and you're just staring unblinkingly at the TV screen.
back.
I kind of understand that very specific feeling because it's more or less like how you experience Space Ghost Coast to Coast as a kid because it's just there in the middle of the night, and then the Space Ghost opening begins, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
I love this song.
What is this going to turn into? And then it's the Brack Show, or then it's just Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then you don't really get the humor very much as a kid.
No.
And then eventually, as you know, becoming an adult, you watch Harvey Birdman, and you're like, this is pretty good.
Yeah. And you get most of the humor, but it's not until you become older that you understand everything, and you're like, I see. I understand now.
I it took me years to understand that ibuprofen joke in SpongeBob. There's a point in the episode Band Geeks, the really famous one, where what is it? Squilliams comes up to Squidward and he says, "I hope you brought some ibuprofen." And like, I never understood that. I was like, "What the fuck is ibuprofen?" But now, as an adult with frequent headaches, I completely understand what ibuprofen is.
Yes, you're educated. You are an adult. You listen to freeform jazz.
To freeform jazz, yes.
Willingly, 100%. You became the joke. You have the sideburns, and you don't like Ground Musk cookies all the time because they're too sweet sometimes.
Sometimes they're just too damn sweet. I do feel that's such a strange thing, though. It's like I used to love sweet stuff, and now can't stand it very much.
We're aging boys, Mike.
What did Juan say that time again?
We're not young men anymore. Yeah. And you just gotta constantly be reminded of it, Mike.
By everything, by media, by your peers, by all of your failures.
Yeah, don't worry. When you're 30, I'll go ahead and let everyone here know that you've crossed the line. You're now no longer cool. But
Nuny, all the articles tell me that 30 is the new 20.
Yeah, you keep reading those articles, Mike. You keep reading them. you keep reading them, all right?
I'll keep reading them.
They'll
comforting myself.
Yeah, keep reading things that confirm the things that you want to be true.
And never look at anything that, refutes them.
Yeah. When have advertisements ever led you astray, Mike?
Yeah. I love our little cyclical conversation.
Yeah, this is what
always loops back neatly.
You see, this is what's called comedy coming back full circle. This is called breaking the mold and having this meta conversation at the end. Which brings us back to Lucy, the Daughter of the Devil. If you like this type of humor, you'll probably like the humor in Lucy. It's weird that this is like maybe the first episode we've ever had where there haven't been actual spoilers.
Because there's nothing.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can talk about the fucking plot that will be like, oh my god, now the show's ruined. What is there to speak on that will change any perspective about the show? It's just there. Like, the show exists for the sake of itself.
Yeah. It's a good show. I like the show.
It's an interesting show. I don't hate it anymore. I do find some episodes pretty entertaining. It's still a kind of show for me, but I'd suggest it to people that are looking for, that sort. When people that are going on a nostalgic kick, even if you weren't around during that period with all those shows and stuff that were playing on Adult Swim.
Yeah, you could be like me the other day, going back and watching Project Echo, being like, I see, quintessential 80s sci-fi anime. And you can go back and say, quintessential 2005 alt humor cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't really have any plans on what to do next. I mean, I have ideas of what we're probably going to do next.
As far as next episodes?
Yeah, as far as for this podcast specifically.
Yeah, for the anime one.
Yeah.
The music one's probably going to have to take an extended break until at least we can confirm what we can and cannot actually fucking do.
Yeah. It'd be nice to know what I can and cannot do.
Yeah, because I'd rather not have us bother recording episodes and you editing them only for them to get taken down immediately.
Yeah.
Or you having to host them and being forced to pay out everything that those videos would make.
Yeah. That'd be shitty.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I remember you discussing
everything that those videos would make. So much money.
The hundreds of pennies that those videos would make.
Man, let me tell you about everything we made last year.
Boy.
Boy.
We sure made bank.
Oh yeah. And I may or may not be doing. I mean, I guess I won't say anything, but I'll see how this whole setup goes. If I could figure out a good way to stream, we'll figure that out. We'll do a thing. So until then, I guess we'll see you guys maybe in 2 weeks. Who knows? Who knows?
I could say we could. I mean, we'll figure something out. I do want to return to consistency.
Yeah, consistency is good, Mike. You see, consistency it keeps the numbers go up.
That's what all of our hosting things tell us.
Yeah, I for sure read those things that they send us.
Yeah, and I mean, shit, dude, they love the shit out of our commercial that we recorded that one time so much that they're still using it.
Yeah, I mean they were until a few weeks ago.
Well, I mean we weren't really doing anything. So.
No, turns out if you stop, the stops.
You know, we were employee of the month, and we went and ruined that.
Yeah, we're such good boys.
Such good boys, recording exactly what we want them to, in such a manner that I can't tell if they're being sarcastic or genuine.
No, it's so sarcastic that it became genuine.
It's so sarcastic that it became an exact replica of the commercial.
Yeah, and the people, there are people out there that heard the commercial and thought to themselves, "Man, these guys just fucking what a bunch of fucking jokes."
These guys are fucking shills.
Yeah.
And but you know what?
Little did they
proud
know.
Of that, 'cause that means that when the time comes, if the time comes, that I'll be prepared.
We'll be ready.
I'll be ready.
And I hope you guys will be ready too, dear listeners. I'll just stop it there. Say bye, guys.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.